Echoes of War, Turning Points of WWII, the fall of 1939. A shadow spread across Europe. With the invasion of Poland by Nazi Germany, the world was thrust into a global conflict. This was not only a war of armies, but of nations. It was a war of civilians, of children, of brave souls who refused to surrender their freedom. Families were torn apart, cities burned. The future became uncertain for millions. Germany's strategy was swift and brutal. Blitzkrieg, fast-moving tanks, dive bombers. Shock and awe. France fell in weeks. By the summer of 1940, Hitler's forces stood on the brink of total domination in Western Europe. But across the English Channel, Britain stood alone. The Nazi war machine turned its sights on London. In disguise, young RAF pilots fought with extraordinary courage. They were outnumbered, exhausted, but unbroken. Night after night, sirens screamed. Bombs rained down, but the British people endured. Their resistance marked Hitler's first defeat. In the East, a new front exploded with fury. In 1941, Hitler turned on his former ally. Stalin. Operation Barbarossa, Germany's largest military campaign. He launched a massive invasion of the Soviet Union. 3 million soldiers crossed the border. The fighting was relentless. Cities were leveled. Millions perished. Entire villages were erased. Civilians starved or froze. Winters turned battlefields into frozen graveyards. Then came the siege of Leningrad. 900 days of starvation and terror. But the Soviet people did not yield. And at Stalingrad, against all odds, the Red Army fought back. They encircled and crushed the German Sixth Army. The myth of Nazi invincibility shattered. Meanwhile, across the Pacific, war erupted. In December 1941, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. The world changed in a single morning. The United States entered the conflict. It brought industrial might and fierce determination. Factories shifted overnight to war. Production. Island by island, the Americans and their allies fought. Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Saipan, Iwo Jima, Okinawa. Every inch gained came at a terrible cost. Jungles were soaked in blood. Beaches became graves. But step by step, the tide turned. On June 6, 1944, the Allies launched D-Day. It was the greatest amphibious invasion in history. Over 150,000 troops crossed the English Channel. Allied troops stormed the beaches of Normandy. Chaos, courage, sacrifice. It was the beginning of liberation. Occupied countries rose in hope. As the Allies pushed forward, they uncovered the true horror of Nazi crimes: concentration camps, death camps, factories of death, systematic genocide. Over 6 million Jews were murdered. So were Roma, the disabled, political prisoners, and countless others. The world stood still in grief. Never before had such evil been exposed. In August 1945, the United States dropped 2 atomic bombs. One on Hiroshima, one on Nagasaki. The destruction was unimaginable. Skies turned red. Cities vanished. Japan surrendered. The war was over. When the guns fell silent, 70 million lives were gone. Men, women, and children, soldiers and civilians, allies and Axis. Cities were in ruins. Nations were forever changed. The world stood at a crossroads. From the ashes came a vow: never again. The world sought justice and peace. The United Nations was born. War crimes were judged at Nuremberg. Documents were signed. Memories were preserved. World War II was not just a story of generals and battles. It was a story of people: the soldier in the snow, the nurse under fire, the farmer hiding refugees in a barn. The child among the ruins, the mother waiting for news that never came. It was their war too. Their choices, their bravery, Their sacrifice and their courage must never be forgotten. History must be remembered, because peace is never guaranteed, It is built and rebuilt by those who remember the cost of war. Asterisk. So if you like my content, please follow me and write new content ideas that I have to do.